Hey, what's happening? This is Ken once again with another sketch cover coming at you live. Um, Taking off the comments from StreamYard there. Don't need that. Um, got a lot of fun stuff on here though. I like this program. You can go to Indie Planet and get my books. It tells you all kinds of fun stuff you can do with me and my brand. Lets me show videos. So I'm going to show this real quick. I want to get to this cover. I'm going to time myself. See how quick I can do this Batman sketch from scratch. I'm going with Batman because I've been doing a lot of demons on these, and not everybody has even read the book to see if they like the demons. So I'm going to do some fun stuff um, for some fans. Start with, watch this though, because I just launched a new book on the 30th called Hatched. Have you ever had an idea you just couldn't get out of your head? You ever wonder how to make it a reality? Welcome to my daydreaming. Hi, I'm Ken, and I make comics. I created Hatched, an illustrated daydream, as a way to put out some work that's never gotten off the ground or hasn't been published before. It's part sketchbook, part autobiography, part snippets. It's a little peek into the history of what I do. In addition to the sketchbook portion, I'm including the chance for you to get your ideas in the book. Our backers will have the chance to get me to draw their ideas and see it published in the book, and even own the original artwork from it. Kickstarter is a great way to help get projects made. I've run 2 successful Kickstarters already, Angel's Blood 1 and Angel's Blood 0, and I'm hoping to build on that in order to keep making more comics. You'll have the chance to get some copies of my other books as well. Spring River, Pangea, Citizen, and more. I want to thank everyone who's watched this video so far and who supported my work in any way, whether financially, emotionally, or just by sharing with others. Thank you. I hope you consider supporting my illustrated daydream. Indie comics only thrives when people like you support it. So go ahead, click the button, support Hatched, and get some more comics. My name is Ken. I make comics, and I approve this message. Only till October 19th. It is a short-term Kickstarter this time. Usually I run them for a month. This is only going to be for 19 days. So it's less about the story and more about just putting something fun together and getting it out there. I have a metric ton of material for the book, and the only downside is just that this stuff had sat for so long. It drives me nuts. So I'm trying to put some more things out there and work my way toward the next big book, which I think I'm going to talk about on another video because it's a huge undertaking. So for this, anyway, we're going to do a Batman. Sorry, you're going to hear my weird mental thought process, but since I don't have a Batman ready, I got to picture one up. Let's conjure a Batman. Do I want a big Batman? Do I want a full action-packed Batman? Do I want a close-up of his wrinkly, awesome, mean face? All right, let's go with this. I'm going to go with a posed Batman. Standing, maybe guarding over the city. I don't always do the lines for the positioning of the eyes and stuff, but especially on Batman because he's got that half mask. I feel like it's important to make absolutely sure where you put the eyes. The eyes are the most important part of the entire damn picture. Start to finish, every time, it's always about the eyes. If that's wrong, your whole thing is wrong because your readers are looking at your character's eyes. They're focused on that. I don't care. You got arms, legs, whatever going on here. You're going to look at those eyes first, and then you're going to see what else the body's doing. So I want to make sure I get the head position right. Go with the neck from there. And then the eye. Looking down, so his chin is going to be almost buried in his chest. So, I really rough out some very basic muscles here, and art students can yell at me all you want for my muscles not being actually perfect here. I'm not drawing an actual muscle bodybuilder. I'm drawing a Batman. So I get that a lot. Not a lot. I shouldn't say that. I don't know. It's a weird thing to say. I don't get it a lot, but I've heard it. I get it from time to time. That some people frown on imperfections in comic art, um, inaccuracies, as if that every comic book drawing has to be Rembrandt or Michelangelo and be perfectly accurate to anatomy. And it's just not that genre, you know. If I were drawing a something for a medical examiner's book, yeah, I better get that anatomy perfect. But if I'm drawing something for a comic book, if I'm drawing a Spider-Man, and he's got to be twisting in the wind 7 ways, bent in half, you know what? I'm going to have to do something that's not even anatomically possible. I'm going to move something here. I got a shadow that I didn't want. Realize I don't need it. Got my monitor to my left, trying to watch the screen because I'm drawing on an angle, which is unnatural, but I'm doing so because I have the camera above. The camera is basically looking at the drawing the way where I would be looking at the drawing. So you're seeing it from my perspective, what it normally would be. And I'm drawing at a very different angle, and that's, like I said, it's not natural, not normal. Let me remove this banner here. Speaking of banner, puny banner. Wouldn't be me if I didn't make a Hulk reference. Okay. Anyway, head, neck. So in my mind, I do a lot of the anatomy work too, and I always have in my head a skeleton. So I've got a skull here. I'm thinking which way does his neck go. Now I'm going to the clavicles and a spine. So in my head, I don't draw it, but I'm thinking about the points of the joints. So the neck's going to go to here, and that's going to go to here for practically for a shoulder, and then here for a shoulder maybe. That's going to curve a little bit because he's on an angle, so it's going to go back, and I got to think about perspective. Um, we the artists, we do a lot of this in our heads. Usually, I don't do most of my drawing on the paper. So much of it happens in my brain, and then I chip away the pieces I don't need to show you. So anyway, so I'm going with some roughed out pecs. Got my shoulders roughly here, and then his arms. And then the torso. Now, I usually have to draw Batman's torso up a little bit because I forget to allow for the belt. His utility belt um, is a character unto itself, and for me, the utility belt has got to be thick because it's got to carry stuff. A lot of people draw a minuscule utility belt, and I'm not a fan of that. At least not for me. About the size of the Adam West utility belt is where I think Batman belt ought to be. So I'm going to go with it like that. I'm going to keep checking back to my video screen and see if my proportions are off. And they often are. That's why we're sketching. And again, in my head, I just pictured the joint for the shoulder and then another elbow, and which way is his hand going to go from there. And I want him to be holding it back, or do I want it to be forward? So I'm going to roughly do that, and then I jump to where do I want his hand to be? And sometimes it pays to think about that. Instead of just drawing out from the skeleton, I'm thinking about, well, what do I want to focus on? Do I want that hand to be something special? And that'll show me maybe I got to make some concessions on anatomy. Maybe I got to make some changes. Maybe I just gave Batman 3 fingers for no reason, and I have to fix that. Oh my God. That's why this is a sketch. I was about to draw you guys the first 3-fingered Batman. Actually, looking back to the history of comics, probably not the first time someone missed a finger on a superhero character. So then I got to think, okay, now that's where I want the fist. How do I get from there to here? Is that the right size for the fist? It looks a little big to me. So do I want to go from the wrist to an elbow? How far back did the elbow go? And if the elbow is here, how much of that arm do we really want to see? I like seeing this bicep here, but if his arm's got to go this way, his bicep would not be that visible. That's insane. His shoulder, his elbow would be here. So you would see just barely a little bit of that. So back to my point, I do think that fist is a little too big. When the fist is bigger, it gives the illusion of depth, and that it's closer. I don't want this fist to be closer. I want this arm is closer. This arm is back more because of the way he's standing. So the arm's supposed to be smaller. So I'm gonna make the finger smaller, make the wrist smaller, make the whole arm smaller. I'm a little happier with that. We'll see if that stays by the time I get to the darkening and inking. So there's some other choices you make along the way. One of them is this tangent line here for the arm. It's not going to want to show. Although I think it should, anatomically. I don't like the way it interferes with the line I'm going to have for his torso. And that part is an important aspect of the figure. And then we're going to have his cape coming down. And the cape is going to have mad shadows. So I'm just going to do that. Batman has these three wing things on the side of his arm. Never understood why. Just a design element that I guess looked cool. Although I really love in the Batman Begins movie that they made them like metal and part of his armor. At least gave it a reason. I like when you give a costume a reason for its weird structure. Okay, sorry. Back to where I was. Going here. Shoulder. Elbow. I'm going to draw that dot just for you so you can follow my process, and I'm not going to leave it there. From there, arm muscles. From here, I got head to wrist. Wrist is about here. And again, like some people would draw that out, and I usually don't though. I do that part in my head because I'm building out from there anyway, and I feel like not every step needs to actually appear on paper. I'm still gonna have to look it over. I'm still gonna have to make changes and subtractions and additions and erasures. Probably tons of erasures. I was just earlier today doing a Spider-Man sketch cover, and I was talking very much about Batman. Now my Batman's pretty muscular. I won't lie. I like to make a Batman that's kind of strong here. Let me turn this camera. I'm not happy with the way you're seeing it. You're seeing it on an angle, so I think the screen looks a little different from what I'm seeing live on the page. Again, we're talking about perspective. I'm gonna give him. He's got a 6-pack, but 2 of the packs are under the utility belt, so we're just gonna see the 4-pack of the Batman and some of these ribs and some shading. And I do jump around a lot. I sketch in what I think needs sketching, and then when I'm sure about a thing, then I go in and darken it. I need to lay off that a little bit on this one because I'm going to do a little bit of gray tone, and I want the gray tone markers and pens to do that work for me. But I mean, it's a creative process and it's kind of fluid, so be what it be. All right, so in my head, I'm still working on this way he's standing. So where's the center of gravity? Where's his balance? Okay, if he's standing here, where does his crotch go? Where does his legs go? Got the utility belt. And I like to draw a classic utility belt. I had this discussion on the other video about Spider-Man and costume choices and the different costume choices throughout the years. And everybody, I think, draws what they like. But also, you want to draw what's distinctive and what makes sense to you. And for me, I know I was influenced by the Adam West TV series as a kid. Now I don't draw the campy Batman, but I'll include like the utility belt from him in that kind of structure, that kind of way. At least these little things. I figured they're always capsules. He always had something hidden in there, a little cyanide tablets or bat shark repellent or whatever. So I draw them that way. I don't know what they're good for. I'm not sure if there's even anything in there. But so he's looking down, and now drawing Batman's butt is always the worst part of my day. I don't know why. Let's make sure that I get this arm finished first. Back to my point though, Batman, he's muscular, but he shouldn't be so muscular that he couldn't fit into a nice suit and go to a cocktail party as Bruce Wayne. You know, the guys, God bless them. You know, some artists draw Batman with muscles as crazy big as the Hulk, and I find that to be curious, and it drives me nuts a little bit because it takes me out of it right there. I'm feeling like that's not even a human looking guy. He's not a man anymore. He's um, massive, and I don't mean like even Lou Ferrigno massive. I mean they draw them. Some people draw with muscles that are just twice his size, unhuman, inhuman. So I'm gonna give him. When I'm doing hands, I struggle with hands like a lot of artists do. So I try to build. Once I've got the wrist position, I want to build out. And now I'm thinking about the bones. I'm thinking about these bones, and that's something that, as an artist, you know, if you're drawing humans, I think we tend to think about, well, what's our body do? So I use looking at my hand all the time, even though my fingers are weird, stubby, and I got giant knuckles from cracking my knuckles like that for 40 years. So anyway, from the wrist to the knuckles to the fingers, and now I'm getting off the page here, so we're just going to stop somewhere along the line. This hand's going to be bigger than that hand over there because we're on an angle, and that helps me show perspective. That is a choice. So if you don't like it, well, that's my choice. Style, choice. I'm going to do 3 of these, like on the other side. I get wrapped up sometimes just drawing little things in the muscles. And this is another Todd McFarlane influence, and I blame him for that because I like to do all little things, and I'll draw a vein here. You want to watch that with somebody like Batman, though, because he's, again, supposed to be a guy, supposed to be a regular man. Well, you know, not regular, but he's not superpowered in any way. You can get away with even Superman, you know, being out there, or Wolverine, you know, having really crazy, big, tight veins and muscles. Batman should have no supernatural element to his physique. I just don't think he should. It doesn't sell the whole billionaire philanthropist um, crime fighter by night thing. Spider-Man, you can get away with doing different proportions on Spider-Man. He's mutated. He's part spider. You can mentally you can forgive that. You know. All right. So Batman's eyes. I get a little influence from the Michael Keaton Batman. I like to do a little point on his cowl there. Feel like it's molded down to the nose. Now I'm going to erase some of these little guidelines. I know, don't judge me. I swing my pencil a little bit. These eyes are a little too wide too. I want Batman to always look like a little bit like he's squinting. And then either scowling or just never smiling. The dude does not smile. You want to give him a rough look. I want to make his chin a little smaller though, because he's supposed to be looking downward. But also I want it to be square, so make sure he's looking at it. Positioning the head is really important at this kind of pose. Otherwise it doesn't sell it. Alright, so I'm doing something like that. Oh, there it is. Now, I've got most of my Batman structure here figured out, right? Got a cape going out. We'll do some of that with the toned markers. The second most important feature on a Batman, any Batman, picture besides the cowl and the ears. And there's a lot of different ways you can draw the ears. This is my favorite style of Batman ears. It's not too big. It's not too small. Um, Comes up, curves a little bit, and with my dying breath, every time I draw Batman, I'm gonna draw it pretty much with his ears like that. And a lot of guys do it differently, and girls. I say guys when I mean just people. I don't mean it to be a sexist thing. It's just a colloquial, like I call everybody dude. You know, I call my wife dude. It's not a gender thing, gender neutral thing. Anyway, I'm getting that another time. So if you're still watching, let's get to the key to Batman, and that is the bat symbol on his chest. Now, there's two ways to do this, and it depends on what the goal of your picture is. Actually, I lied. There's a million ways to do it. There's two ways I do this. And one of them is making a small Adam West oval right here somewhere. Very much like the classic Batman. And I think that's what I'm going to do on this one because it looks right. I went with a classic belt. I've got a classic Batman feel to it. I don't have any of the newfangled rugged stuff of the new movies and costume elements. So I usually draw a giant bat that goes all the way across his pecs, points in the middle, and then across with the tip of the bat face right here. Yeah, essentially in the same place as the one I'm drawing, except just big and without the horsey or the oval corral gathering, holding the bat in. But since this looks like a classic Batman, I'm going to stick with a classic thing. And we're going to do, we're going to do this like the regular, like the old school Batman. Now, this is key. It's got to come to a point in the center. And the hardest part of doing this kind of bat symbol is getting it somewhat balanced. Now, this is not a flat picture. It's on an angle, and there's perspective anyway, so you can cheat a little bit. But essentially, you got to get the bat ears centered. Okay. And then it's gotta come around. But it's got to do basically the same on both sides. You don't want it to be too lopsided. And the point's got to be right down in the middle of the bat is what his face would be. You know, the old Batman from the TV show had his actual face here. The point down here has got to come up and out. So you better make sure you get that right. So yeah, I used to try and draw it, start here, go around and do the whole thing, but it just never comes out symmetrically that way. And I feel like it doesn't do a service to all the work I just put in to making the picture look halfway decent. It's also got to be like, you got to make sure that you follow the line of your oval. So your oval dictates a lot of that. Better get your oval right. This takes practice. I tell you, but drawing Batman takes more practice than drawing the Hulk or Spider-Man or any other superhero, pretty much, except maybe Superman. Now, my bat, I tend to do a couple of wings here. Not wing, yeah, kind of the wings, and then down to a point. One and two. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, whichever I do, you gotta do it the same on both ways. And I did it wrong. I straight up did that wrong. That's what I get. And as I recall now, the reason I only do the two is because I want it to look balanced. The traditional bat symbol has the middle one and then two points before the wing. Mine, the way I like to draw this, because I like to still draw it wider so that it fills up his chest. If you draw it like it was like on the old TV show, it's even smaller than this, and that just doesn't give you a great impact, in my opinion. It's all about impact. Okay. So this is my Batman, right? The more I'm looking at it, the more I'm really liking this as a pencil sketch. I'm scared to do this with tone ink, but I said I would, so I'm done. Wow. I got these great toned markers from my wife for my birthday, and they are incredible amount of fun. So I'm going over some of my already done pencil lines with this color because it's practically the same shade. I'm going to try not to make it too neat because I want to save some of that rough sketched out feeling that a pencil sketch has. Toned markers can give you that same thing if you use it right, but they can also take it away if you use them too much like brush, like pens. And if you clean it up, if you clean something up too much, you can actually lose energy on it. Um, keep wanting to say it's an art form, and it really is. But see, what I'm doing here is I'm giving it that, but I'm giving it in a quick, rough way. Um, so, since you're not following along in my head, you can't read my thoughts. In my mind, my light source is up here where the Punked uh, Comics logo is. And so, with that in mind, I'm thinking where would light hit and what would be in shadow. So, I'm giving it some shadows first with these. This is a pretty light pencil or pencil marker. So I'm going to go a little heavier on it because I know that I'm going to use a darker one in a minute to really give those shadows some depth. And since this is practically the same shade as my pencils, it's going to be easy to, like if I make a mistake, it's okay. It'll blend because it's not so dark. Some of these are, they get really dark and I love them. I've started to make some really cool stuff with them and it's become my new favorite pastime besides just drawing comics. Lin-Manuel Miranda said about doing theater, don't do it if you can do anything else. And coming from like the most successful uh, theater actor, playwright of all time, or at least of our generation, and I still maintain maybe of all time, because when you look at the numbers he raked in, not with just Hamilton, but with In the Heights and the shows you've been a part of, and then that doesn't even count all his TV and Disney stuff. Okay, I'm going a little crazy with this lighter pencil or marker, and I just want to probably slow down so we get to the good stuff in a second. Leave a little bit on the side for a backlight so that the underwear there doesn't blend into the cape when I do that. Doing the cape. Sorry if I pause. Part of my process. Okay, so that's looking all right. So I'm going to go from this to sorry, looking for some more markers. I always have my stuff. I'm gonna test this on the part. So when I'm doing these, and that it looks pretty good. I'm gonna test it on the part that I know is gonna be black. Because if it's wrong, I can always cover it in black, and if it's right, like this is actually a little too dark for what I want. Compare that to the other ones I've got, so it might be my best shot. Okay, so this is gonna be all right, but I'm gonna use it in a sparing way. I'm gonna do an outline here so you can still see the shape of his torso and his butt, the bat butt. Most of the stuff I want to do sketchy. Some of these lines I want to be very precise, and that's just a matter of choice. Like this, though, the wrinkles in his pants would be darker. The shadow, I think, under belt would be darker. Shadow under his chest there, the pecs going into his underarm, definitely be darker. do a little bit of shadow, just a little bit there. And then wherever I think there's a darker shadow needed, I'll just kind of hit it. Squint my eyes sometimes. A lot of times when I'm doing shading, I just squint my eyes and see what jumps out at me, what's missing. And that's how I see certain things. Like I just saw in my thoughts that when I squinted that this cape isn't laying flat. He's got curved muscles, so you would see something like that. I like it when I get the chance to do some shading on the back, on his chest, like the middle of his pec would be indented, so I get to see some of that. Sometimes it's just got to be solid black, and other times you get a chance to do some shadow on it. And that just depends on your picture and your taste and your style. So got shadow come from here. I'm going a little too dark over there, so I'm gonna lighten up a bit. Lighten up. See what I did there? Made an art joke. I'm punny, damn it. So I'll do a little bit on this side. Light wouldn't be hitting that side. Light would, however, be hitting this whole arm. It's not coming from behind him, so it's coming from this side. And so, just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. As much as I can make sure. I mean, this is still a rough sketch. As much as I'm spending some time on it, and it's not like a quick 5-minute sketch or a freebie sketch like I would do at Free Comic Book Day, it's still just still pretty rough. It's not like I'm spending 2 hours on this one line. That would be a whole other price range. Direct message me for page rates for what I would charge for 2 hours drawing a Batman. Okay. So I'm liking where we're going with this. I even from a distance, I can see that I've got some deep dark shadows. I've got some bright highlights out here that are just left white. Cape's going to have a little more in the back where nobody would see it. So I'm going to trace this. I don't want too much of it, though. I feel like you can easily overpower your picture with too much shadow. And the thing about that is you can always add more later. You can't you can. It's really hard to take it away, though. I prefer not to use a lot of whiteout in my drawings, especially if it's like a cover that someone's going to keep, because whiteout dries very. Your best cover up, it tends to dry thick unless you're using a good expensive paint for your whites, which I am not, and I generally don't. I'm gonna do a little extra here to accentuate Batman's angry face. Not a whole lot. That shadow looks right to me. Okay. Sorry, bumped my camera. As I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I still want a little bit more differentiation on my lights. So I'm going with a lighter marker. I'm going over this and then over the other because it helps gradiate. And so it also gives me some lights, but it darkens up what's already there. Give me the chance to just add more depth and value to the picture. So, initially I wanted to do this with blue and gray, but I think I'm really enjoying it with just the gray. So, superhero crotches are a real drag to draw. Don't like drawing them because you don't have. Well, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I don't like drawing superhero crotches. I'll say that right now. But as an old school comic guy, I do, appreciate the classic costumes. So Batman and Superman, when they have their undies on the outside, as they call it now, I feel like that's the proper costume. But I will say I still hate them. I think it looks even weirder, like with Superman when he has just no underwear, no, it's just him in tights. I feel like that draws even more attention to his crotch, and that's not what I want. Um, I think we've just gotten, over the years, we're used to seeing the superheroes with their Captain Underpants showing. I don't think that's a terrible thing. I don't think it's scarring anybody for life. It's just funny books, people. The other cool thing is these markers are kind of like watercolors, so if you go over them a couple times, you can darken them up just a little bit, even using the same one. I'm going over this with a little squiggly, scribbly motion, because again, I want this to stay rough. I want this to be fun. Um, like I said, I want to keep that energy. The Dark Knight is the Dark Knight for a reason. When I'm doing a Superman, I did not draw Superman this way. I never have drawn Superman rough or rugged, jagged or sketchy. I mean, Superman to me is the kind of thing that should be clean. He should be pristine. He should be above reproach. So visually, I like to convey the same thing that I think he should convey morally, which is that Superman is the best among us. And so when I draw Superman, I like to draw Superman nice and clean. Okay, I'm starting to get pretty happy with this. One of the worst things about what I do is having to rein myself in. Because I think I feel like I could work on this all night. Maybe get something different um, every minute I draw. I'll keep adding stuff until there's not a square inch of the page that's not covered in something. But learning when to rein yourself in is an important part of doing this for a living. My wife will tell me all the time, I never know when to stop. So looking at that, I think I like it. So I'm going to call that good. Nope. Going back here. Going behind this. I'm going to do a little different shape and shadow. Yeah, I do have a hard time knowing when to stop. I'm going to take a couple of things, just a little bit. Where it should be dark, I'm going to make it real dark. And where I need a line to show you that there's a difference, you make it black, 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 but not very off. Okay. Just in a couple of spots. Black is black, man. That's all. There should not be much of this on this picture. It's all done in grays. Life is a series of grays. Happy little grays. It'd be fun if I could turn into the Bob Ross of comic art. And a happy little cloud and a happy little vein on Batman's muscles. Okay, I'm getting to that point where I'm gonna not stop. Yeah, there we go. This is my Batman on an Angel's Blood cover. I am Ken Lenar. If you don't know how to say my last name, and most people don't, I am mad at you though. I'm happy anybody even uses my name. Kenneth Lenar. Once again, Batman, Angel's Blood for the win. All right, check the comments. The link for the new sketchbook Hatched is live now. Thank you for watching me. Take care of yourselves and one another.